Manly, real man, not with the gay shit. You niggas sick and gross me out, transforming into a bitch. I don't want that dirty pussy, little mama. I ain't spending no a trick. Don't need you to put me on. I put myself on. Just came up on another lick. Bills paid, belly full, in lack for nothing. Nigga, do me, stay in my lane. Fuck trying to be another nigga with nothing. Brainwashed and continue lied to our social media. Censor everything real good and true destruction.
Tonight, we're taking a deep dive into the world of AI with a special focus on ChatGPT.
Everybody's using the AI-generated images from these in their social media apps.
Oh, I love being a woman.
It's just really taken off in the past couple of weeks.
Artificial intelligence, AI, you know about it. It's been around for a while, but it's exploded over the last few days as a wave of people began using the technology. Have you done it yet to create some really interesting pictures?
It's beautiful, I think.
It's the app that's taken social media by storm, from celebrities to TikTokers, all putting their face through the Lensa AI app.
Relax, killer robots haven't taken over yet. But the internet's going crazy over new artificial intelligence called ChatGPT. The program can write really complex essays, books, news articles, and even computer code. And it's really good.
The revolutionary new language model developed by OpenAI with the ability to generate human-like text and hold natural conversations.
We're definitely in a very exciting time with the development of artificial intelligence. It's becoming really, really sophisticated at this point.
A sophistication that's introducing AI to millions who never used the technology before. Check your social media feed. You'll see images like this from an app called Lensa, or answers to questions from ChatGPT, created by a company called OpenAI. Today, it crossed 1 million users. AI trackers are calling this a crossover moment.
So that's kind of interesting how this shift in this kind of AI that's in some ways been there for quite a while has now been given like a new lease of life or a new kind of accessibility that makes regular people able, more comfortable embracing it.
It's pretty good. But mankind better be careful. Experts warn the sting has the potential to take your job. Kids can use these to cheat and have it write papers for them, where it can impersonate your friends to give up your passwords. And the biggest fear is AI becomes so smart, it finds a way to control humanity.
And this one is kind of freaking me out a little bit.
You upload 10 to 20 photos of your face. Think selfies or portraits.
The more angles and face expressions the photos have, the better results you can achieve.
Then, after about half an hour, Lensa generates dozens, even hundreds, of pieces of digital art called magic avatars. But this morning, the question, how safe is your data when you use it?
But the tech is also raising concerns, like what happens if those AI answer generators give you the wrong answer or do the work for you.
If we have students who have the ability to just go online and have an AI write an essay for them, we're going to have to figure out new ways to evaluate students.
There's a long list of potential ethical concerns if generative AI does indeed take off. First, disinformation and misinformation. Think deepfakes, but on steroids.
A classic example is, taking the image and the voice of the president, having him say something he would have never done. The consequences could be severe in the sense of it creates misinformation and other things. These technologies can also be used to harass people, right? You could take an image of a person that you may not like and have them do something, and it can have a lot of negative consequences.
The filters are modeled after the styles of popular artists, leaving some to question the integrity of the filters and whether artists are actually being ripped off.
Artists saying, hey, you're taking years of my work and you're saying that someone can upload 10 selfies of themselves and get this illustration.
I was reading in one of the articles that it is as significant as electricity and fire in terms of what it can do. We already have robots that are on crime scenes that are, whether it's bombs or whether it's just, supervising and going around with a video camera.
It sounds and looks like the crime-fighting tools of the future. San Francisco supervisors have approved a policy letting police use remote-controlled robots that are capable of deploying deadly force.
Police officers in a major American city have been given the authority to use remote-controlled robots that are capable of using deadly force in emergency situations.
A spokesperson says the department could deploy robots equipped with explosive charges to, quote, contact, incapacitate, or disorient violent, armed, or dangerous suspects.
A mechanized object where you are not physically in the room and don't have a 360 view and can use your judgment that only humans have. This is a big deal. This is opening up a Pandora's box that could change our society in a significant way.
I'll say to them, okay, how many of you are in really satisfying romantic relationships? Put up your hands. Then I'll say, okay, I'm now only talking to these people. Of those people, how many of you would want to know your partner's cheating on you, even if it means the destruction of the relationship? 95% of them put up their hands. And I say, but why? And here's my students who are usually all sort of bitten with cynicism and postmodernism, and they'll just say spontaneously, well, because it's not real. Because it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What's real? Matter. It's like, okay, that's one answer. What's real? What matters is real. Because that's how you act. Okay, so that's different than matter. It's like, okay, what's the most real of what matters? How about pain? Why is it the most real? Try arguing it away. Good luck. So pain is the fundamental reality. All right. Well, that's rough. Doesn't that lead to nihilism and hopelessness? Yeah, doesn't it lead to a philosophy that's antithetical towards being? The most fundamental reality is pain. Yes. Is there anything more fundamental than pain? Love. Really? If you're in pain, love and truth, that's what you got. And you know, if they're more powerful than pain, maybe they're the most real things.
It's something that echoes in the universe. It's something that survives after us. It's something bigger than us.
Is something like a glimpse of the eternal embedded in the finite. And we don't really understand the relationship between the finite and the eternal. And we certainly have the apprehension at times in our life that we're making contact with the eternal inside the finite. I think you get that in the face of beauty, you get that in the face of music, you get that in the face of love. And I'm loath to say that that's not the deepest reality.
That if you just allow yourself to take it seriously for a second, it forces you to pause and think, like, what's going on here? And then it ultimately, I think, does return to the question of meaning in those mundane things.
Yes.
What gives my life joy? What gives it lasting deliciousness? Where do I notice the magic, and how can I have that magic return again and again? Beauty. And that ultimately what it returns to. But it's the same thing you do when you look up to the sky. You spend most of your day hurrying around looking at things on the surface, but when you look up to the sky and you see the stars, it fills you with a feeling of awe that forces you to pause and think in full context of, like, what the hell is going on here? When you think too much about the meaning of a glass and relevance realization of a glass, you don't necessarily get at the core of what makes music beautiful. So sometimes you have to start at the biggest picture first. And I think meaning of life forces you to really go to the Big Bang and go to the universe and the whole thing, the origin of life.
Now we're reaching for the stars with our next guest. New pictures released by NASA are out of this world, quite literally.
NASA unveiled pictures from a new space telescope capturing the deepest images of the universe anyone has ever seen. I see a bunch of really cool colors.
This Webb telescope is just showing off now. Look at this.
I'm okay with it.
The pillars of creation. Looks like an optical illusion.
Images from the James Webb Space Telescope. This one shows two galaxies swirling in a chaotic object right in the middle there. This is 270 million light years away from Earth. So what's happening here? Well, these two galaxies, they're actually plunging into each other, and that's igniting frenzied star formations known as starburst. It's also creating new stars at a rate more than 20 times that of the Milky Way galaxy.
Oh, that is amazing.
Isn't that cool
So
stuff?
cool.
I am fascinated by this concept of time, but you say the birth of the universe, which to me, I think, well, the universe had to have grown up.
Well, you see, light has a finite velocity. Therefore, if you peer into the night sky, you're looking into the past. So the Webb telescope is a time machine. We're looking back into the past, and we can now go back 13.5 billion years into the past when the universe was a baby.
A lot of people have different takes on, what this actually looks like. Some people say they see the hand of God coming up.
We waited decades for this, and it's for images like this that really are truly breathtaking. They're as scientifically interesting as they are beautiful.
When you look at the night sky at night, you're just overwhelmed by the billions of stars you see out there. And you wonder, what's up there? What does it mean? What's our role in this thing? How do we fit in this much larger cosmic scheme of things?
If you gaze into the abyss long enough, you see the light, not the darkness.
Are you sure about that?
I'm betting my life on it.
Yeah, that's a heck of a bet.
Well, that's...
Because it might distort your mind to where all you see
is abyss.
Is abyss.
Yeah.
Is the evil in this world.
Well, then I would say you haven't looked long enough. That's back to the...
You're just a limited...
The swords, the flaming swords. It's like... So I said the whole story of Christ was prefigured in that image. It's like the story of Christ psychologically is radical acceptance of the worst possible tragedy. That's what it means. That's what the crucifix means. Psychologically, it's like gaze upon that which you are most afraid of. But that story doesn't end there, because in the story, Christ goes through death into hell. So death isn't enough. The abyss of innocent death is not sufficient to produce redemption. It has to be a voluntary journey to hell. And maybe that's true for everyone. And that's like, there is no more terrifying idea than that, by definition. Sometimes your gaze can be forcefully directed towards the abyss, and then you're traumatized. If it's involuntary and accidental, it can kill you. The more it's voluntary, the more transformative it is. And that's part of that idea about facing death and hell. It's like, can you tolerate death and hell? And the answer is, this terrible answer is, yes, to the degree that you're willing to do it voluntarily. And then you might ask, well, why should I have to subject myself to death and hell? I'm innocent. And then the answer to that is, even the innocent must be voluntarily sacrificed to the highest good.